Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Part 2.
part 2. I have asked all my good folks out there in lovely Facebook land, and thank you so much. I really enjoy this Facebook stuff.
You can tell that you enjoy it.
Yeah, it's fun, and I like it. I like the conversation that you can generate with it.
I like that sometimes when you want to post photos, you ask my permission.
In this trigger happy, snap happy world, it's very easy to go, just send a picture. And sometimes I think it's important to remember that one should ask permission in certain things, especially whenever it's to do with the size of your trailer and the size of my car. Okay, Sarah Wofford. What teacher had the biggest impact on you when you were in school?
William Schooler. He was my drama teacher in high school, and he saw me as a bit player in a play, Inherit the Wind, the Sculpt's Monkey Trial.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
There's a story about evolution being taught in the schools in the South in I think the 1950s or 60s, and he just came up to me at the end of it, and he looked at me and he said, "Stephen, you have great focus, and you are going to play Malcolm in Macbeth next fall."
Really? How old were you?
I was in 10th grade.
I never understand the grades in the American-Canadian sort of system. How old is that? Sorry.
16.
16?
15, 16.
Okay.
And so I did Malcolm, A Midsummer Night's Dream for him. I was Tony in West Side Story. Did a bunch of different plays, and then I went off to acting school, and I didn't like it as much. But he and I have stayed in touch. We're actually circling the idea of possibly doing an independent film whenever I can find some time.
Where did you go to acting school?
The American Academy of Dramatic Arts in Hollywood, California for 1 year.
How was that? No?
No, it was no good.
Sorry, Hollywood.
No, it just didn't. I think that I didn't find my groove in Los Angeles until I started working with a guy named Chad McCord, who is an audition coach. And
That's interesting.
And he helps conceptualize for an actor that a lot of getting a job is about being hireable.
Yes. There's a great... Did you ever read that book, Audition, by Michael Shurtleff?
No.
Michael Shurtleff was a Broadway casting director years and years and years ago, really old school theatre Broadway casting director. And he could see the horrific time actors were having because the audition process is so much different to the actual doing it process. Mm-hmm. And Robert De Niro apparently was the worst auditioner in the world. Couldn't get arrested because he just couldn't audition.
Sure. But
kind of they gave him the odd film or two, and he kind of worked out the other stuff, the real stuff.
Right.
And it's an interesting point to make that difference clear.
Yeah, he runs a spot called Mixed Studio. I send people to him all the time because when it came to like my first ever audition for a CW show. Actually, no, my first thing that I worked with him was for a show called Men in Trees. Remember that?
Yeah.
And it was to play this Russian hockey player, and I hadn't even gotten a sniff so far. And he said, "You know what?" He goes, "Pause before this words." He was giving me line reading. It wasn't, where do you think this character's from? What's his life like? It was like, this is how you walk into this room and get to the producer session, and then at the producer session, we'll build another plan.
Interesting. Yeah. That is interesting. My acting teacher, actually, that I studied with 130 years ago in London, he's coming to LA now, and he's building up his coursework in LA. And I just did a thing on my page and advertising that fact and offering a place for somebody in his introductory course in LA or London. And it's amazing, like you're talking about that teacher that had that effect on your life. It's amazing how, one person in your life, could just turn you just from one direction to another, be so inspiring. And John, that acting teacher for me, was the same.
Yeah.
Okay, so Stephen, do you ever check yourself out in the reflection off of Paul's head?
No, but I do occasionally feel inadequate with your chest hair.
Oh, the chest hair.
Every once in a while, your chest hair makes me feel just a little bit less of a man.
Young and just I saw someone say, right once, they said, "Come for Mr Amell's abs, stay for Paul Blackthorne's chest hair," which I thought was a bit of a stretch, I have to say, but interesting, yes. So Sharon White Pula. Oh, this is a good one. I'm sorry, it starts with me, but it gets to you.
Okay.
Paul does a great job capturing the Arrow crew at work and showing those photos with the fans. I love seeing the people who bring the magic to the screen, she says. So tell us, what's the coolest thing that you've seen the crew do? Be it building a super complicated set, or creating fabulous lighting or sound, or really anything that you thought really made the scene click.
You worked with Gregory Smith on episode 315. Were you in episode...
Do you know what? Someone asked me this afternoon, do you know Greg Smith? And I said, I don't think I do.
Because I did.
The one just now.
Nanda Parbat.
No, I wasn't.
Okay,
That's why I didn't know him.
Damn it. Because Greg Smith came on, and he's right around my age, and...
Oh, the young kid.
The young guy.
I thought he was about 25 or something. Yes.
Well,
he's 30-something, right?
He's 31, something like that.
Yeah, that's...
He came up to me and he said, I hope that you appreciate your crew, because the setups that I see them pull off, we often have days where we have 100 plus setups. And that's a staggering number. But the day that we shot the Ra's al Ghul fight, that was completed at the top of Grouse Mountain in Vancouver. It's a practical set. They brought in the snow. They had the cranes. There's one shot that looks like it's from 100 feet in the air of Roz and I fighting, and it's not a CGI shot. It's because a crew member went up to the top of a light tower and set up a camera to go down. So they're constantly thinking, they're innovative, and our show forces them to be ruthlessly practical because we don't have the time of a big film crew to set up these huge engaging shots. They have to be practical, real time, make it happen. And that day in particular, but just constant level of respect for them.
Yeah. I have to say, one of the things that always blows me away is that first moment when James Bamford, the stunt coordinator, puts his guys out there to show what the stunt scene is going to look like.
Yes.
It's like watching a ballet or something, isn't it? As they're doing their fighting and dancing, it's almost like poetic. It's just absolutely extraordinary. Balletic would be the word. That always blows me away, watching what those guys do. Tanya Laws. Hello, Tanya. Thanks for sending in your questions. If you and Stephen could do a dudes being dudes road trip, where would you go and why? So, let's direct that question to you. Let's have me answer a question, shall we?
I would do one in Ojai, because the whole point, which is Paul frequents Ojai, loves Ojai, California, and the whole point of the dudes being dudes in wine country is we have to go somewhere where we find someone to host us. So we would either do Ojai or we would go to Tupperware country and find a small vineyard somewhere.
Between garden fences. Is that a bottle of pink cheap wine I could borrow there, please?
English wine is awful.
Oh,
it's terrible.
I mean, climate change and global warming, but please, let's just not do English wine. Though somebody was telling me about English, call it sparkling wine, champagne, quote unquote, the other day, which they're trying to market. But anyway, we'll see about that. Good luck. I would actually turn that into a dudes being dudes in beer country.
Okay.
Where I live in the south of England is very rural sort of countryside, and just some of the most beautiful English, old school English pubs. We kind of walking in like this, and the ceilings there.
I remember those
and
in
the
Belfast.
fire, and the dogs being roasted on the fire, and all that sort of stuff. And you just these local ales, and literally from one pub to another, there's such a massive difference in the taste, from one beer to another, such small areas, and the characters that you get in those English pubs. So once you've done all your dudes being dudes in wine,
yes.
You're like, what should we do for season 17? It's over to beer country,
correct.
Sussex. I'll see you there. Okay, so Desert Island Discs. Have you ever heard of Desert Island Discs on the BBC?
No.
It's this fantastic show. I just listened to Ray Winston's this afternoon, and they basically say, if you pretend you're on a desert island, what would the 8 records you would take with you?
Sure.
What would be the one you would save if they were all being washed away in the sea? What would your luxury item be? And it's a great show, actually. It's on BBC Radio 4. You should listen to it. It's wonderful. Great insight into people's lives. If you were stranded on a real deserted island, forget all this Leanne Yu stuff, what would be the one thing that you would take? What would be your luxury item? Oh, this was coming from Bob Scott. Thanks, Bob.
My luxury item?
Yeah, if you could just have, you're allowed to take one thing with you to this desert island. I mean, you can wear it, a pair of pants and all that sort of stuff.
So you're going in with pants, okay.
Yeah, you got a bit of item of clothing. And I think that's probably it.
Because I was going to say a good pair of shoes.
Let's say shoes count. But that's probably...
It's a true story that Oliver in the pilot is actually shoeless when he's on the Queen's Gambit.
Yeah.
And so when he's in the life raft, he is also... Yeah, yes.
Yeah, you mustn't wear your shoes in bed. It's awful, darling.
So it was then, he's going to be shoeless on the island. And our production manager, JP Finn, took one look at where we were going to be shooting and what we were going to be doing, and he just said, he's going to be wearing shoes, guys. They said, well, continuity-wise, and he said, he's wearing shoes.
Shoes wash up on the beach.
Exactly.
A pair of flip-flops. So, okay, well, let's say you got the shoes, though. Because... they would miraculously appear, as clearly they do in...
Luxury item, I think I'm going to become practical and go with something like a Swiss Army knife.
That's my one.
I don't know, I mean, it's like, you could say, well, it was satellite TV, but...
Yeah! Oh, look at that, they're ready.
Last question.
Okay, 2 seconds.
That's Sarah. Everyone on my Facebook page knows Sarah. They want to meet her.
Oh, she's brilliant. Sarah is fabulous.
She looks great, by the way.
Who does?
Sarah.
She looks great. She always looks great. Does she look particularly great today?
She looks particularly great.
Okay, this was actually from Paul Blackthorne in Sussex in England. Which one was it? Name one or more experience that shaped you into being the person you are today. Other than your acting thing, but...
Well, I think that I'll tell you what, when I was in my late 20s, I had a pretty good breakup. I was in a long relationship, and then I had a really good breakup. And then I went that night with my sister, and I saw the movie Up in the Air.
Yeah,
George
Clooney,
Vera Farmiga.
Right.
And the conceptually, it's sort of a lonely... It's Jason Reitman. It's sort of a lonely concept, but this guy is basically like... I'm bound by nothing. I can go anywhere. The skies are my friend. And that actually inspired me to just disperse with materialistic things for the time being. And I went to Los Angeles with literally nothing. And 2 years later, I got Arrow.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Where would you like to see your life in 10 years' time?
Hopefully... with a couple more kids, Cass.
Over to you, Cass.
With a couple more kids and really happy with them. Working, hopefully in movies or maybe back in TV. I want to make sure that Arrow stays good for a good stretch of time and happy and healthy and with healthy kids and a happy wife.
Happy wife, happy life.
Good wrap up.
This has been much fun.
Thank you, man.
God bless you, sir. Cheers.
Go to work.
Yeah, I've got to go to work.